Hi, fun recap here. Today, I'd be explaining an interesting Ghanaian movie titled Sidechick Gang. Have fun watching. The movie begins with a scene where three friends were sharing flyers to random people, strangers on the streets, with the content that they run an ushering agency. Therefore, if any of them need them for any kind of offering services, they were available. In the process, one of the friends who was known as Pokey has spotted a man who was living with a young girl in his car. She then quickly left the person she was talking to at that moment and rushed over to the man to have a short conversation with him. She pretended as if she didn't know the man and just wanted to talk to him about their ushering business, but then asked him a few questions to make sure that he was actually the person she thought he was. After that confirmation, she told her friends about her encounter. Apparently, the man was a married man, and then Pokia knew his wife as a friend, even though they weren't close friends. And the young lady the man was with was actually his side chick. Pokia and her friends then rushed to the woman's house to talk to her about her encounter with her husband earlier today. She then told her about how her husband was cheating on her with a younger girl, but the woman just told her to leave, that she was aware, but there was nothing she could do about it. That since Pokia didn't have any proof to show that, she just mind her business and let her be. Because of this, Pokia and her friends came up with an idea to get a proof that would make the woman believe that her husband was actually cheating on her, so she could leave her marriage and live a better life, because Pokia herself was a married lady and wouldn't be happy if this had happened to her. That same day, Auntie Vero was parking out of her husband's house when her husband returned from work and asked her why. She then told him about how she was hearing rumors that he was cheating on her from different people. The husband then told her that these were just people who were jealous of her, and if they didn't have any proof to prove that he was actually cheating, then there was no point in her believing them. This made her change her mind of leaving and decided to stay, even though she still felt bad about the whole situation. The next day, Poco and her friend followed Auntie Vero's husband and then came up with a brilliant idea to get proof or pictures of her and his side chick so they could show to Auntie Vero. Their plan worked perfectly, as they intentionally pretended to be having a conversation where Auntie Vero's husband and his side chick were actually having fun. They caught them on camera, which they showed to Auntie Vero later that day. Even though this broke her heart, she felt grateful that Pokia has actually given her the proof she has always needed. In return, she rewarded them with a huge amount of money. Pokia declined the money, but then she said she just felt like giving out because she was actually happy that they have helped her come out of a toxic marriage which she has been in for a very long time. Later that day, Pokia and her friends were happily going through the money Auntie Vero has given them and were planning on what to make of the money, whether they should continue with their ushering business or start up a different business that will earn them much more money. After that short conversation, Pokia decided to prepare dinner for her husband when she had a call from a friend who said she was Auntie Vero's friend and that Auntie Vero has told her about how they had helped her get rid of her cheating husband. So she also wanted to pay them so they could help her get proof of her husband cheating on her so she could also leave her toxic home. Pokia then told her friends about the offer she has gotten from Auntie Vero's friend earlier, and the amount of money the woman was willing to pay was actually huge. She then discussed with them how much money they could be making if they could actually help women get rid of their cheating husband just by getting proofs for them. They could actually make a lot of money than what they've been struggling to make from their so-called ushering business, which hasn't been working ever since they started. They then decided to kickstart the plan, set up a business, an office with everything they could need, cameras, and then start making announcement that they were the Sidechick Gang who actually help people get rid of their cheating husband just by providing proofs or evidence of their husband cheating for them. And strictly, they were doing this for women, not men. They then started their Sidechick Gang business and invited Auntie Vero's friend to their office. After few interrogations, they figured out that Auntie Vero's friend's husband was actually a popular politician, and then the woman told the story about how she was suspecting her husband cheating on her. They then decided to help her with the plan. She offered them 10,000 Ghana cedis if they could just help her with evidence that her husband was cheating on her. She gave them half of the money and said that she would give them the rest if the job was finally done. They then rented an old car which they would use in following her husband to be able to gather the proof they needed for her. Their plan worked perfectly, and they got the pictures they needed of the politician in bed with his side chick. They presented to the wife, and the next day news of the politician's downfall spread like wildfire. Because of this, more women heard of the Sidechick Gang and decided to approach them about their marital issues and if their husbands were cheating on them, so they could find evidence or proof for them to be able to leave their cheating husband. Business was actually booming for them. They were happy that everything was going on successfully for them. And this is how Pokia and her friends started catching cheating husbands with their side chicks. They continued with their Sidechick Gang business, had a conversation with more wives, caught more cheating husbands, and made more money. They worked tirelessly day and night, catching cheating husbands. This angered the men in the neighborhood because the Sidechick Gang was destroying their marriage. They then decided to come up with a plan to cause the downfall of the Sidechick Gang. Because of the popularity of the Sidechick Gang and the fast rate at which they were getting customers, Pokia started working long hours, which made her spend more time at the office than her home. This caused her in returning home later and later by the day. She often got home to find out that her husband had already made dinner, served hers, and then was far asleep. She wasn't happy that her home was gradually losing that sweet husband and wife bond they previously shared before the Sidechick Gang came in present. But also, she couldn't lose a job that was paying her more than any job had ever done in her entire life. The next day, they had an unusual customer at the office. It was a man. This had never happened before. They told him that they only ran their services for women, but then he insisted that he was facing a problem and really needed their help, that his wife was cheating on him, and then he was willing to pay any amount of money they wanted just so that they could help him with evidence. The amount of money he offered was finger looking good. Because of that, Pokia and her friends decided to take the risk and for the first time decided to go on a mission on catching a woman's side chick for her husband. They started following the woman everywhere. The woman's pictures were presented to them by her husband. They started following her and even engaged other spies so they could catch her in action faster, so they could present the evidence to her husband or whoever claimed to be her husband, so they could just make their money and then go their way. They told him that his wife was proving stubborn to catch, and then he even gave them an extra amount of money just to speed up the process, that he was willing to go any extent to catch his cheating wife. The next day, Pokia received a call from one of their spies from a particular hotel that the woman was there with her side chick. She then announced this to her friends, and immediately they rushed over to that particular hotel to catch her red-handed. Upon reaching the room which was allocated to them, they found out that Pokia's husband was the man the lady was cheating with. Because of this, her friends got really down that they couldn't take the images, but then she took the camera herself and then took the images of her cheating husband. They then presented it to the man. Pokia did this herself, and after that he turned to leave, but then they confronted him and then reminded him about the remaining amount of money he was supposed to pay them. Then he said that today it was a different person that was going to make the payment. Then other men who Pokia and her friends had caught them cheating on their wives, thereby destroying their marriages, appeared from nowhere and then asked her how she felt when she saw her husband in bed with another lady, if she was happy about it, and why she was enjoying ruining other people's marriages. This made her very sad and thought to herself what she had gotten herself into. Apparently, the men had planned to get the downfall of the Sidechick Gang. They intentionally hired that lady who was actually not the wife of the man who claimed to be her husband. So they intentionally got a trap for Pokia's husband to fall in, just so they could see the expressions on their faces if they were supposed to be in their shoes. Upon realizing this, Pokia and her friends became so heartbroken, but then one way or the other, they decided to continue with the business. After consoling their friend, another client walked in and decided to also beg for their service, offering to pay a huge amount of money as usual. They agreed and decided to take pictures of the cheating man the woman was talking about. Apparently, the woman was saying that the man who was cheating on her was her fiancé. They've been dating for 3 good years, and then she felt that the man was cheating on her with another lady. So they asked for the pictures of the man. When the lady presented the pictures, they realized that the man in question was Baba, one of the Sidechick Gang's fiancé, a man that she has been dating for less than a year but then had promised her marriage. She was heartbroken upon realizing that the man had actually betrayed her and played with her feelings. She was the side chick of a man who had a girlfriend that he had been dating for 3 good years. She couldn't bring herself together to believe that the man could actually do this to her, but then they put themselves together and told the lady that they would go ahead with the plan. But immediately after the lady left, Baba wept like a baby. After all this happenings in just one night, the Sidechick Gang decided to close down. They decided to stop going after people's cheating husbands. They decided to just close down the Sidechick Gang and move on, concentrate on their personal lives. That night, they packed all their belongings from the office and moved back to their various homes. The next day, Pokia and her husband decided to settle their marital issues. That was when realization hit her that it was her fault that her husband cheated on her because she wasn't giving her time because of the Sidechick Gang and how long she was spending with her friends instead of her husband at home. Baba's ex-fiancé also came to apologize, but then she showed him the proofs of the other girl he was with and told him that that was the end of their relationship. She decided to move on without looking back. A year passed and the girls became bored and frustrated. They were no more the happy friends they used to be before the Sidechick Gang was created. Even though they were going about their normal daily lives, they still missed their times they spent together and wished they could turn things back, even though that seemed impossible. One day, they heard a couple arguing and they thought if they could actually change the Sidechick Gang into an organization where they counsel married people so they could actually mend their issues and then settle their differences instead of breaking homes by preventing or presenting evidences of their husband's cheating, it would have been better. They had this discussion and came up with an idea of changing the Sidechick Gang from breaking homes into mending broken homes. Again, they bought everything they needed for their counseling agency and started up their office. Here, they gave women advice on what they could do to prevent their husbands from cheating on them. And in no time, just like the way the Sidechick Gang became popular, their counseling agency also became popular, even more popular than the Sidechick Gang, grooming more husbands and wives on how to be better couple. Their popularity grew worldwide and they even hit more customers than they had ever done with the Sidechick Gang. They started making more money than they ever even made when they had the Sidechick Gang. They were known for doing something good. Married couples were happy to go to them to help them resolve their marital issues as they knew they could get the solution they needed. The Sidechick Gang was changed Volunteers of Love, and this is how Volunteers of Love became one of the most popular counseling agencies worldwide. Sidechick Gang, the end. Thanks for watching to the end of this video. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, like, comment and subscribe to our channel for more interesting videos like this. See you on the next episode.